Sheetal this side.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And it is already 5 minutes past 5, and at sharp 5:11, as we usually do, we are going to start. We are going to wait for 6 more minutes, and exact 5:11. Uh, Kaushik there is some sound from your background creating problem. Kindly
No,
control it.
no, it's not from my side. Hello. Yeah, it's not
Okay.
from my side.
Okay, it's not from your side, Shivani or Sheetal. Kindly mute everyone.
विजन मिशन आहे मानवाचा तो काही हा उपक्रम आहे की भारतात हृदयरोग आणि हृदयरोगाचे रिस्क फॅक्टर त्याच्यामधला डायबिटीज या डायबिटीजला हद्दपार करणं आणि या मोहिमेअंतर्गत आपण सगळेजण जोडले गेलेले आहात.
Kaushik ji, kindly share your screen because exact 5:11 we will start. Yes, perfect. Perfect. It is perfectly okay, Kaushik ji. No problem. We are not getting your voice. Have you muted yourself?
Are you getting my voice?
Yes, it's okay.
The screen is also there.
Yes, everything is perfect. Just
Yeah.
wait for 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Shivani ma'am, there is some noise coming from out background. Can you see from where it is coming?
बोतल एक भर के दे देना और गेट बंद।
sir, there's some problem from your end. We are getting some sound, abnormal sound, disturbing sound from your end. Okay, 5:11 on the clock, and I, Rajesh Oda, on behalf of Igniting Power Engineering team, welcome each and everyone who have taken, who have come by sparing their valuable time, and they are here to join this very good webinar on battery present, past, and future, because that is the future. Everywhere you go, you see that everybody is talking about battery and electric vehicle, and in the present time it is very relevant subject to discuss upon. Keeping in mind that theme of this webinar, we have invited from Igniting Power Engineering this time the battery expert, respected Kaushik Das. And at the same time, I would like to thank and acknowledge all the delegates, stalwarts, mentor, and support team who have worked hard to make each and every webinar truly successful, and that has already been proved in last 7 webinar. This is the 8th webinar in the series, and we are proud to announce that this conference is being conducted along with the cooperations and the support with ELPA, Earthing Lightning Professionals Association. I again thank you everyone who have joined, and I hope everyone is going to learn very new concept, new thought. Before I invite the guest, my good friend Kaushik Das, there is need to take some name, because without the support of these mentors and who have been instrumental in my journey of learning, and without which it wouldn't have been possible to conduct and to reach the position here where I am right now. As I always do, I would like to start with Almighty, my family, PP Vahe sir, Anjali Chandra ma'am, Sahil sir, Pramod sir, Dr. Kamal Bansal, P. Ramachandran sir, KK Murthy sir, KK Gupta sir, NK Mittal sir, Sanjay Agarwal ji, Amit Bhatia ji, Apuva sir, Sanjay Patki sir, PK Patnaik ji, Rajamani sir, Harish Mehta ji, Manas Kundu, Yogesh Sood sir, Dr. Vikas, Gopa Kumar, Sanjeev Banerjee, Hitesh sir, Dr. Sridhar, LM Saini sir, SK Batra ji. Now comes a list of my good friends: Saket Gupta, Varun, my team, Hitesh, Abhishek, Gulab, Himani, Shivani, and Sheetal. Last but not the least, ELPA and CBIP for their unflinching support. Today, on this platform, my good friend Kaushik Das has accepted my invitation, and I would like to give a very brief introduction about that great personality. He graduated in mechanical engineering from NIT Jamshedpur in 1993, and it's a proud thing to announce that he is also pursuing his PhD. And during his professional endeavor, he has worked for the largest as well as for the startup in energy storage segment, and he has served numerous corporate PSU government unit so far. His unconventional but sound engineering approach toward the subject made him acquire multidisciplinary knowledgeable person, and his current research interests include battery thermal management, battery failure mode analysis, development of high voltage energy storage system, maintenance need and troubleshooting, etc. for the Indian condition. And with this webinar, he is going to share historical development of various energy storage system and current scenario and way forward. And he has authored and part of several research papers and participated in various technical activity in his organization, where he heads up production, operation, and planning for their company. Without wasting much time, it is time to invite Kaushik Das, battery expert, going to talk on battery past, present, and future. Now stage is yours, Kaushik sir, and make this stage on fire. Welcome, welcome sir. Kaushik sir, kindly unmute and take over from here.
Hello. I'm audible now?
Perfectly audible.
Okay. So, good evening. I'm Kaushik Das. As Dr. Rajesh has already told me a lot of things about me, I'm not very sure whether I'm able to meet those aspects or not. But it is a small contribution towards the battery development, past, present, and future. What is going to be the future? What was the past? It is a very interesting subject. In fact, I'll tell you the batteries as an electrochemical subject or electrochemical device was invented some 160 years ago, and it is very interesting in every aspect. And just to tell you one thing, that numerous research on the different aspects as batteries has already been made, and that makes very interesting subject. Perhaps a few of the items which is present when it was invented, say around 160 years ago and till today, few chemistries are still being used as a fundamental for the batteries we are using. So that is also a very interesting thing. So certain interesting thing in the past which we are practicing in the present, and which is going to be what is going to be the future. This is what I'm trying to present. I'm sorry, but the aspect of batteries or the phenomena of batteries or the modeling, there are so many aspects in a battery technology. I may not be able to cover. I have to skip certain things, but maybe possible we can capture those aspects in the future also. In future webinar, if Dr. Rajesh allows me to conduct some other webinar, then I can cover certain things. So this is one thing which I want to do. I'm going to the next slide. Yeah. What is the forms of energy?
Excuse me,
yeah.
Kaushik sir, kindly make the screen full. It is not full. Kindly press F5 button.
Yes, sir. Now
it is perfectly. Sir? Yes, kindly.
Yeah. So typically, energy storage system is what? Is it there are few forms of energy storage system?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Should I request Mr. Das to please adjust his microphone? It is giving a lot of echo.
Okay. Is it okay now? Hello. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. It's okay. Kindly.
Now it is okay. Thank you, sir.
Is it okay now, sir?
Sir, go full screen.
Good, very good.
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Kindly continue.
Yeah. So coming back to the forms of energy storage system. So we started around 160 years ago how to store the energy in a scientific manner. In fact, several decades, say 400, 300 years ago also, people thought of storing the energy. So certain forms has already developed during 1800 and 1900, like mechanical storage, hydropower pump storage, compressed air, flywheel, then thermal energy storage, electrical energy storage. These are all being developed in the 1850s to it goes up to 1900 around this period. Then comes chemical storage, and the interesting part which has come into the place is electrochemical, that is battery energy storage system. So this is what we are talking about, the electrochemical battery energy storage. This is the theme of our discussion today. This webinar is focused on battery energy storage system. Few of the interesting facts. Batteries as a main source of energy, electrical energy. How the batteries name came up. This is basically in 1749, Benjamin Franklin, he used this term battery. But the battery which we are using today, or we are talking about the battery today, is electrochemical storage, not the linked capacitor or capacitor, that is the electrical storage. Then comes the main invention, which was in 1800, Volta. He invented this primary cell, which is also called as a galvanic pile some year ago. Then there are so many other things in between worked out. One point which I wanted to incorporate, that is cell. What is the difference between cell and batteries? So this is one thing which I'll be discussing in the later slides. What is the difference between cell and a battery? Because cell is having certain voltage and certain ampere hour, whereas a battery which is today required may have a different set of voltage as well as your ampere hour. So there is a difference between cell and battery. But normally people talk about battery and the cell in the same manner. On the same terminology, we use battery and we use the cell. Should I go to the next slide? So what are the historical development?
Sir, there is much echo from your side, Kaushik sir. I think there is some mobile lying near to you. Kindly keep that mobile away from you, and that is on also.
Okay, let me. Is it better now? Hello?
Please continue. Let's see.
Yeah. So what are the historical development taken place in between the development from past to the present scenario? One interesting thing which is found by Koenig in 1938, Baghdad battery. Lot of researchers has talked in a different line for this batteries, which was found, which was supposed to be around 2200 years ago. This Baghdad battery is a small artifact which was found in the Baghdad and still it is kept in the Iraq National Museum. This is one thing which is very interesting, and lot of people talked about this thing, whether this is an actual battery or it is something else. It has got also the similarity between the galvanic cell and this Baghdad battery, which is called. But certain people talked about it adversely, that it is not a battery. And top of it, why say around 2200 years ago people will use a battery when there was no electricity, there was nothing like the concept of electricity was there. Why people use this? So, but in every, whether we talk about the origin of the battery, there is a name called Baghdad battery, which every time comes. This figure is a actual figure from which was is still kept in the Iraq National Museum. Then the main invention comes in 1859 by Planté. This Planté name is very famous for battery field. Everybody talked about Planté. Planté is the inventor of batteries. Actually, we call about the secondary or rechargeable cell. We talk about Planté. And he is the guy who developed this batteries, lead acid battery. And the good part is that the chemical reaction or that time it was still we are having the same thing in the today's lead acid battery, whether it is in a storage or in the vehicle. We have only changed 2-3 things. One is the plate type. Then we moved from Planté's original invention to flat pasted battery. Then we went to say tubular batteries, spiral wound batteries. 3 types of positive plate we have changed, and certain modification in the negative plate. But the fundamental or the principle has not changed till this time. One thing which is very interesting, I'll tell you, the batteries, lead acid battery was invented almost 10 years ago before it was practically used. Because that time there was no charging facility, DC generator was not available, there was nothing where we can charge the cell. So the lead acid battery was charged with some primary cells initially for 10 years. And it was hardly used in certain places, but the invention was well recognized in Europe as well as in US. One interesting fact about this lead acid battery, Planté sent few pieces of battery for in America for some seminar, and after say a year or so, when he returned back those batteries, the capacity was not even derated for 3 to 4%. This is the beauty of the invention he did so many years ago. Then another battery which has come to the limelight during before 1900 was nickel cadmium battery. The first battery with alkaline electrolytes. This is the first time. The electrolyte and the fundamental chemistry was changed from the lead acid battery, which is basically you can say it was a different technology that time. We will be discussing this nickel cadmium batteries in the later slides, because this lead acid battery, nickel cadmium battery along with lithium battery are having majority market in the rechargeable batteries section. Almost you can say 80%, 85% market is being held between lead acid battery, nickel cadmium battery and lithium ion batteries. Lithium ion cell. This has been first tried in 1912 by Lewis. This was experimented, but actual research and actual invention was given, the credit goes to this Goodenough, John B. Goodenough and his team. It was during 1980s, and finally in 1985, the first prototype was made for lithium ion battery, and same thing was commercialized very fast by Sony in 1991. Lithium ion battery is a very important aspect, and we will be discussing in details in later slides. There is another battery which has come to, that is again an electrochemical battery, that is a flow battery, which is used for stationary application in certain places. This has got a special interest nowadays for grid level energy storage. Vanadium flow batteries are now extensively researched for grid level energy storage system. The principle is already written over here. You can see the liquid is stored in the two different collectors. And this is one of the things which is coming up again in from 1884. Now again it is coming up, and lot of research is being carried out in flow battery. Along the side you can see the nickel cadmium batteries. This is again fuel cell. This is again invented so long back. Lot of research has been lately carried out during this 90s and so, and lot of plant has come up, lot of vehicle has been made with this technology. This is again a very interesting technology for your when we talk about renewable energy and converting this, avoiding using your what we call as your dirty fuel like petroleum and all. So this is again a very good prospect for your electrochemistry. Should I go to the next slide? So what is battery? So we talked about certain cell. So battery is array of one or more electrochemical cell which is being externally connected. Now there is a question like I'll tell you the lead acid battery. We talk about the chemistry as gives around 2-volt system and with a different configuration of plate. It starts from say 6 volt 4.5 H. The popular model I am telling you to it goes up to 12 volt and 200 H batteries in the monoblock. When we talk about the 2-volt cell, the cell capacity starts from say 10 H or 20 H, it goes up to 3000 H. This is scalable. But when we talk about the battery like 12 volt battery, so if you break the batteries, you will find there is a connection between 6 cells in the battery of 12 volt batteries. Similarly, when we talk about 2 volt cells, which are extensively used in the energy storage or in the float application, in the power plant at every place. So these are externally connected. So there is again a classification. When we talk about the battery, there is always a external connection because there is hardly anyone who is using single cell for certain application. Voltage level may be around 24 volt. It starts from 12 volt. It goes up to 364 and above volt cell system. So obviously, when we talk about battery, we are arranging those cells into series parallel connection. Should I go to the next slide? So what are the classification of batteries? Classification of the batteries can be of different types. We see the thing from the different prospects. What are the types of, what is the battery type? What type of battery we wanted to use? Suppose we don't want a rechargeable, like in a pencil torch or in small application in toys. We don't want a secondary or rechargeable battery. So we require a primary cell. So many primary cells are available in the market where we use when the voltage comes to certain level, lower limit, we discard it. Whereas certain application we require secondary cells or rechargeable cells. In the power plant application, in telecom, in data center, in UPS application, even in telecom, then in railways, in every place you will find secondary cell. These are rechargeable cell where we talk about keeping the batteries either in a float or in a cyclic application, and when the demand of current is there or electricity is there, it delivers that. Otherwise, it is kept in the either float or in the cyclic application. So this is one thing. Then there is another type of cell, that is the reserve cell, where the electrolyte is separated between the two cathode and anode. And when we require the batteries, we add this electrolyte into the cathode and anode, and the reaction starts, and we start using. So mostly in the long storage, we require this type of reserve cell. Not much popular. Popular is either primary cell or secondary cell or full cell. Then there is a voltage level. Now, what are the voltage level implication of the voltage? Like in the lead acid battery, it is 2 volt, nominal voltage is 2 volt. In nickel cadmium battery, it is 1.2 volt. When we talk about lithium ion battery, it comes in a say 3.2 volt for LFP batteries cell. And when we talk about your NMC chemistry, we talk about 3.7 volt nominal voltage. So this is one about that. There is a classification of according to voltage. Then there is operating voltage. The system requires 48 volt system. System may require 110 volt system. These are the popular model where the operating voltage level is required. So say if we want to for a substation battery, if we talk about 220 volt system, we normally prefer for 110 numbers of 2 volts, say normally 200 each or 300 each. Sometimes it goes to 400 each cell. Then what is the maximum and minimum current voltage limit? So each chemistry has got a different voltage limit. Now, when we talk about the voltage window of a lead acid battery, it hovers from say 3 up on the upper side, it goes up to 2.35. On the lower side, it comes at 1.8 or 1.75. These are the two voltage levels. So what is the operating voltage window? What is the limit? In the vehicle, when we talk about the engine starter or some car batteries, the limit of the lower voltage is much less. For few seconds, we require battery to work at say 8 volt or 8.5 volt on the 12 volt system. Then there is another very interesting thing which is coming up, that is a discharge profile. How the batteries are being discharged, how it is going to be discharged. Suppose we require in a storage on certain operation where the batteries are kept into float. This is one application. This is a stationary application. But the same batteries, when we talk about the discharge profile of a vehicle. The vehicle, say, typically I'll tell you one example of discharge profile. The batteries, when we talk about the electric vehicle, the voltage profile comes from say for a 48 volt system. The discharge profile is it need to be come down to around 51.6. For that we require around 40 to 43 volt system. So different discharge profile. The current discharge in the discharge may hovering from a 3-wheeler battery, if you are talking about the 3-wheeler EV, maybe 35 ampere for certain seconds. Then nominal it takes around 16-17 ampere. So this is a discharge profile. In this case, suppose we use another battery, like we talk about, I take example of, if I use my engine starter battery or a vehicle battery, two-wheeler car battery into EV, it will fail very easily because the plates made for that is different. So this is how the discharge profile is going to affect. Then the voltage delay, like if the batteries are having a BMS, then the things are little different. Then the startup time, or we can say how much time the batteries are supposed to deliver the current. Then the current and load profile. This is again very important, like current, what is the constant current, constant resistance, or what is the constant power. According to the load profile, the batteries are being designed. So all this classification is part of how we design the battery, or the basic information we require from the battery to be designed. So these are the points, say 12-13 points which are being parameterized for the designing of the battery. Duty cycle. What is a duty cycle? Continuous is different. The chemistry will be different in continuous and intermittent or in a float application. The duty cycle will be again different. Schedule, what is the schedule of the batteries? It will be again having different. Now there is another very important thing, which is a temperature. What is the operating temperature range? I say a battery like lead acid battery, the life of the capacity or the derating will be twice if I raise the temperature from say 25-degree nominal temperature by 8 degree. So what is the temperature? High temperature application, low temperature application. Say the electrolyte in a lead acid battery starts freezing at minus 16 degree. There is a IEC 60896 21 and 22 where we talk about the testing of the batteries at minus 16-degree temperature. And what is the operating? Though the capacity at minus 16 degree or just above minus 60 degree, maybe 30-40%. Similarly, when we talk about the higher voltage application, the temperature, due to the effect of temperature in the electrochemistry, the life will be reduced by 50%. Lead acid battery, it is 50%. Even in lithium ion battery, the same thing is happening. It is again coming out at around 50%. What is the service life? Then comes another question. What is the service life? In float application, we talk about the battery should run for say 5 years, 10 years, like that. When we talk about the car battery, we talk about 3 years life. When we talk about EV, we talk about 6 months to a year. So what is the service life? What do we expect from the batteries? Like lithium ion battery. Lithium ion battery is replacing lead acid battery in EV segment because the service life or the life of the battery itself is more than say 1000 cycles. Whereas compared to the lead acid battery in the EV segment, the service life or the life itself is hardly 300 cycle or less than that at different DOT. Then again comes as a key, what is the depth of discharge? Like 80% batteries will be another slide. Possibly I have added few slides where the different DOT, the life is different. This is again a very important question when we design about the battery or the classify about the battery. Then another point comes physical requirement. In any case, what is the same size? Weight limitation. In EV, there is a weight limitation. Some place the fitment is not available, the size is not available, the shape is not available. Especially this is very relevant when we talk about UPS battery applications in your what we say in UPS your telecom application. The space is very low. So we require a stack type of formation where we put up say 4 stack, 5 stack application where the footprint is very low. So the size is again a very big constraint. What is the same? How we wanted to put up the batteries. Suppose I say keep tubular battery, we wanted to put up tubular battery in the in your car battery. It's not possible because of the shape, as the size of the tubular battery is much more high. Apart from some other limitations, we cannot use that. So the same comes again in the same factor where we talk about the EV, the same is there. Footprint, we are talking about footprint, like when we talk about grid level storage, the footprint is again very important. Lithium is having an edge over other technology because of the footprint of lithium ion batteries are much lesser than what is other technology, be it NiCad or be it a lithium ion battery. In comparison to if I compare 3 batteries or 3 type of chemistry, the size of lithium is much lesser than what the size of lead acid battery or the size of nickel cadmium battery. Nickel cadmium battery for the same ampere hour and voltage level, it is the most bulkiest, and that is one reason vehicles are not in a vehicular application. Nickel cadmium batteries are hardly used, except in some cases railways people are using this nickel cadmium batteries according to the shelf life. What is the storage life? Suppose we wanted to store for a longer period because there is always a voltage derating or the capacity fading due to the electrochemistry or due to the IR, which we will be again talking on the later stage. But what is the storage we wanted to do? We wanted to keep the batteries as a standby for a year or 2 year or 3 year. If we talk about the same, I'll give you an example. Like storage, we can keep the lithium ion battery for up to say 3000 cycles or there is a calendar life. It can be, if we keep some charging, discharging, and we keep the freshening charging for lithium ion battery, we can keep up to 3000 cycles or 3000 calendar life. Similarly, in the lead acid battery, we can keep up to, it is again around 2500 to 3000 cycles, calendar days, nickel cadmium. But there is always a derating on the capacity and there is derating on the voltage. So we have to give a stressing charge into that. So again, there is another point which is again, when we design about the battery or classify the batteries, charge discharge cycle. What is the charging efficiency we require? What is the discharge profile we require? Whether we require profile in a flat manner or it can be scaled up or it can be scaled down. Scale up or scale down means there is a, suppose I talk about a battery used in the industry. Now suppose power goes and battery is used for that. The first minute we calculate for the maximum load, but the load is going use the same load. We have to design on the charge discharge cycle, keeping in the mind that the current load or the present load will be the load on the battery. Now for next 2-3 minutes, then we calculate that the emergency will be used, whatever the minimum requirement is there, which is unnecessary draining of the batteries will to be stopped. So this is a discharge profile. So discharge profile in most of the applications, especially in the storage battery or in the cyclic application like into EV or into vehicle, the discharge profile is very important on the designing of the battery, and batteries are broadly classified into the same way. Then the environmental condition. This is a very special interest as on date, I'll tell you, because lead acid batteries, lead is a carcinogenic compound, it is degrading the environmental condition. Then nickel cadmium battery, the cadmium is again a carcinogenic compound. Then obviously lithium has got again the same environmental effect. This is what we talk about the environment. Then comes second thing, whether the batteries are going to work in a humid condition or in an acidic condition. This is also a very important thing, especially in the certain application where the batteries are kept in a very acidic or the bus bars has to be different. So this is again a point where we discuss about where we are going to use these batteries. Then shock and vibration. This is especially important where we talk about the electric vehicle application, because the batteries are always in a constant shock and vibration. So when we see the batteries from inside, the plates are very thin. Lead is a malleable substance. Similarly, when we talk about the lithium batteries, lithium has got the spiral wound batteries or the plates are very thin. So there is always a chance of failure. So from that point, we have to see what type of batteries we are going to use for this application, whether the batteries, I'll tell you one thing, the failure of lead acid battery into three-wheeler segment is mostly attributed towards the vibration and shock, where the pasting in the negative plate is getting out, and that is why the failures are coming. Similarly, failures are also coming out into certain lithium ion battery, but this is mostly on the EV segment or the vehicular application. Then comes the safety and reliability. When we talk about the battery, we at least see from three aspects. One is the electrical performance, what is going to be the life, and what is the safety and reliability. So when we decide on a battery, we want to remove so many factors and we just wanted to go for certain batteries, We have to see the three things. One is the electrical performance, where we talk about the voltage, load profile, all these in the earlier section we discussed. Then comes the life. We have already discussed the service life of the battery. Then comes the reliability. Because battery is always used as a standby application and a reliability part. Batteries are supposed to be very reliable, and that is why every time in every place people are keeping battery as a standby. In telecom application, batteries are also required to give uninterrupted electricity. Similarly, in the power plant, where all the switch gear and other applications, you require a reliable source. So, what is the reliability? Certain cases we require very high reliable when we keep 1+1 battery bank. In many cases, especially in the very high reliability, we oversize the battery. For increasing the reliability, normally people use oversizing the batteries. This is also one way of avoiding certain failure. Not all the failures can be removed with your oversizing the battery. Then one point which is very important, what is the maintenance? One bad concept is that in our battery line is we talk about sealed maintenance free battery. We don't talk about VRLA batteries. We talk about sealed maintenance free battery. Actually, every battery requires certain type of replacement, maintenance. So whether it is lead acid battery, flooded or tubular, we talk about nickel cadmium battery, we talk about lithium ion battery, we talk about VRLA battery. Every battery requires certain level of maintenance, be it periodic maintenance, be it maybe after say 3 months, maybe after 6 months. We have to keep certain maintenance for every battery. Even cleaning is also a battery maintenance. Then comes the cost, which is again not the least, but it is one of the most important, where people talk about what will be the cost of my battery. In marketing, people every time they face, no, these batteries are very costly. Lithium, I'll give you an example, like lithium ion battery are not getting mileage for last couple of years because of the cost. People wanted to keep the system cost low and they compromise with the battery. Suppose I talk about one application in a solar application, street light application. Still in India, people are using 12 volt 40Ah battery for a street light application, where the same application can be having with lithium ion battery of 12.8 volt as say 30Ah or 32Ah. We can have the replacement of lead acid battery, because lead acid battery in any case require a maintenance of topping up, cleaning and so many other things. There is a very high level of chances of failure because of the temperature in normal tropical conditions are very high. The resistance is very high, internal resistance compared to internal resistance are very high. So in all the factors, we have to have a cost comparison. Compared to that, there is one battery which is having a special interest. There are hardly few companies who are manufacturing in a lead acid battery. That is again a Plante battery.
Kaushik sir, I'm sorry. There is background sound is there from your place.
Just a second, sir. I'll just take a break of 1 second. I'm sorry. There was some drill work was going on the floor.
Please continue, sir.
Yeah. Then this is a cost. So we discuss certain aspect about the classification, but all these classification, when we classify the battery, we always think about how we are designing a energy storage system, be it as per battery type, voltage, current, duty cycle, temperature requirement, service. All these factors are kept in the mind or is to supposed to keep in the mind when we design or zoom to certain electrochemistry. These aspects will also answer certain vital information, what will be my battery size. So sizing also can be covered from these points. This is about the chemistry, physics, engineering behind a cell. So batteries can be seen from different angle. The thing is that we see battery as a many people see battery as a black box. Like I have used the battery, I have put the battery, and we feel that it is going to be the most reliable, but most neglected. But I have seen lot of installations, several installations where people are not maintaining. Even the terminals are not clean, not every place, but in several applications we find that the terminals are not clean. The water topping into your flooded batteries are not even in an inverter. If you look into the inverter, people keep it okay, it will run, it is supposed to run, but this is the main chemical reaction. The main chemical reaction is getting affected. So we see battery from different aspect and it gives us different result. The chemistry level, we talk about the main chemistry, like in lead acid battery, we talk about Pb plus PbO2 plus 2H2SO4. It is a reversible action. This is a main chemical reaction. But at the same time, there are certain side reactions also. There is a passivation phenomena which is going on inside. The side reaction is the electrochemical reaction which is coming up. Then the chemistry level, we talk about the chemistry level. There is another phenomena which is how the electrons are getting out from certain plate and it is diffusing towards that. That is also again coming up as a different science. So it is basically, if you look from chemistry, it will give you certain answer and mostly certain confusion. Similarly, if you see from physics side, it will give you certain information and certain questions to be answered. So all these engineering aspects are basically interrelated in a battery. It's not so easy to interpret from one formula like Pb plus Pb electrochemistry point of view. The reaction is one thing which is visible. But if you see from another side, not every electron is coming out from one plate and going to the another plate. It is not happening in that way. So the surface chemistry comes into that. Then how the cell is being transferred or transported into the electrolyte. So there is again a change in the state. So how the cell level chemistry, how people come out with why so many research is going on into electrochemical things? Because the failure will, in the third point, I am just giving you a simple example, the failure will come at the end of life. When the batteries are being installed, either the batteries, most of the cell level chemistry, the failure or the battery level failures will be either on the first few days where we can blame it to the wrong designing of the battery pack, or at the end of the life. Even the best of simulation tool can give you certain idea about the electrochemistry or the phenomena going inside the battery. So it is not every time possible or not every time feasible to give the best of electrochemistry as the best of your battery. With all due respect to nickel lithium ion battery, if I say the electrochemistry level, there are a lot of, this is the most superior electrochemistry we are having, but it has got its own failure. There are so many things which is going against it. Which is new thing, which is we are working on for last 30-40 years, is the lithium ion battery. If you Google it, you will find numerous research paper and the different direction people have tried and find certain FMEA and the failures on every chemistry, be it a lead acid battery, in a nickel cadmium battery, and in a electrochemistry. So there is always a point where the tried and tested way is not the best way. We have to go to multi-direction engineering incorporated with the chemistry, physics, electrochemistry, all these researchers, if they put up their head and soul, heart and soul, they will be finding certain battery chemistry. So when we talk about the battery, we always think about it is going to die one day and how it is going to fail. This is one thing which is having a very interesting topic, and the very interest people are having is how batteries are going to die and when it will be dead. There are two things which is to be always answered. Then what will be the failure mechanism? So how batteries are going to dead? Like I'll give you an example. There is one battery which we talk about, OPZS or OPZV. This is a lead acid flooded batteries, OPZS, and OPZV is your VRLA battery, and both the batteries are put into sand container. That is a transparent container. So this is one way several industries and several power plant, they are using this battery. It is basically a see-through battery. They can see the degradation of the your electrolyte, degradation of the positive plate, degradation of the negative plate, all these things you can see, and that is why the maintenance is little easy. So you can see the death of the battery before it actually happens. Similarly, one battery that is a Planté battery, that is again a put into transparent container, and you can see the battery which is what degradation is happening, whether the degradation in the electrolyte or the degradation of the negative plate or the degradation of the Planté positive plate. This is again a very important thing. So this is how it is seen, what is the failure mechanism. So the science behind batteries, the quality test, the limits, the safety features, calendar and cycle life, all these things are what is required for deciding a battery. Fundamental electrochemistry. From the electrical side, this is possibly everybody knows about this phenomena. What is happening on the electrochemistry level, there is another thing on the electrical level. This is the most interesting. Mostly everybody knows about this EMF theory, which is very popular even in the most important thing that comes is the IR, internal resistance. We will be in the subsequent slides. I'll just skip this slide because this is the thing which is everybody knows or many people know. IR, we will be discussing about internal resistance extensively in my next few slides. Okay, what is IR and what is required? So one thing, let's find out what is the fundamental electrochemistry. So one interesting, this is a block that is a battery type, positive plate, the reaction taking place in the positive plate, the negative plate, and the standard electrode potential. Now, if you see the potential into your nickel cadmium battery in the positive electrode, this is plus 0.48. In the negative electrode, this is minus 0.82. Similarly, in the lead acid battery, this is in the positive plate, this is plus 1.7, negative plate, it is coming minus 0.35. So what will be the effective, what is electrode potential? Plus 1.75 minus, again bracket, minus 0.35, that comes the result is 2.05. This is the nominal voltage. This is again the lithium ion chemistry. This is having the, so the reaction, it has been given into the positive electrode. What is the reaction, and similarly what is the reaction in the negative side. So this is a interesting thing, because in I also tried to find out into so many research paper. In consolidated, this is one thing which people should know, people should understand, and its interpretation is very important on certain aspect, because from this point researchers are always finding the failure model, how the batteries are going, cell level failures are can be seen from this fundamental electrochemistry. This is a reaction we are having, and possibly it is being now incorporated into different engineering college as well as into the plus 2 level also. This is the same thing which is coming up. So fundamental electrochemistry reactions are like this. So one thing I am just pause and I'll just explain it. This is a reversible reaction coming up, Pb plus O, PbO2, and with diluted H2SO4. This is PbSO4 at the positive plate, PbSO4 at the negative plate, plus and the sulfuric acid is getting diluted and water is being formed. Now see from the electrical side, not every Pb is getting converted into PbSO4. So there is a equilibrium sort of thing forming. Pb is getting into PbSO4 in a phased manner. Similarly, in the positive plate, PbO2, it is again getting converted into PbSO4. So this is the equilibrium. From that you can see how the sulfation is, or premature lead acid battery is happening, because PbSO4 is electrically non-conductive. So every time this is again we can see the transport phenomena from this formula. Similarly, we have nickel cadmium batteries where we are having this type of reaction coming up, where the alkaline your plates are there. This is lithium ion battery. Lithium basically is the lightest, and what are the advantages of lithium ion batteries for different application where we talk about? It is the lightest of all metal. It is most electropositive element, and it is, I won't say it is available much, but still we are using it. We will discuss later on the same topic again. These are all we are talking about rechargeable cell. IR as a function of different parameters. So what we talk about IR, internal resistance. Now, if we don't have IR, what will happen? This is again a very big question which we talked about just about IR. There is the function of IR is very important for any battery. Without IR, the cell will short circuit and the battery will die, or in most of the cases battery will catch fire. IR is, again, this is a wrong convention. Somebody talked about, people talk about कि IR is a constant, but it is a function of both SOC as well as state of charge and the temperature. So this is what we are talking about, the IR. IR is very important, and lot of research, numerous research has been carried out for understanding this electrochemistry phenomena, that is internal resistance. It is basically very much chemistry dependent. Different batteries, different cell chemistry has got different IR level. Lower the IR is always desirable. If you see from the graph, the IR as a function of SOC is changing from going down for certain. This is first one is your lithium ion battery. Second one is having a different IR at different discharge rating or charging rating. And IR is very important for both your lithium-ion battery as well as lead-acid battery. Battery failure is mostly attributed towards the higher IR also. So what are the disadvantages? There are a lot of advantages. We talk about lead-acid battery.
Respected sir, try to finish in next 10-15 minutes because we are running out of time. We have to take questions and panel discussion also.
Okay. Just I'll try to finish it off. So what are the disadvantages? So we talked about a lot of advantage, but there are so many disadvantages with the electrochemistries in the batteries. So there may be some physical hazard, there may be some environmental impact on the batteries. We talk about so many things. It can be a separate discussion, the chemical hazard or injuries like lead acid battery, it is acidic batteries. Equipment damage, sometimes some battery explodes, there's a damage in the equipment, then there is a special note. I'll talk about the impact of lithium-ion battery, which can infect, having so much disadvantage also. But at the same time, when there is an advantage, there is always a certain disadvantage. Lead acid battery, if we compare, we are recycling almost 99% lead acid batteries are worldwide recycled for making batteries or some other item. So different types of electrochemical cell. These are the different type of, there are ways of interpreting, but these are the common thing like lead acid battery. We have threaded or VRLA batteries, then tubular or flat piston or Plante battery. Automotive or stationary application batteries, the different application has got a different type of batteries. Then the flow batteries are having redox, then the hybrid membraneless. Lithium-ion batteries, we are having a family of chemistry. There are different chemistries, maybe some 15, 16 chemistries are available in the. I was going through a research paper where people are talking about one electrolyte. Then the NiCad batteries. Lithium-ion technology comparison. This is very important. In next two slides, we are having a very important thing, which is we can share some time for this. What are the different type of lithium-ion chemistry and what is the application? Like Tesla is using the lithium, nickel, cobalt, aluminum oxide in certain place in US. In China, they are trying to use some other chemistry. So different application, because lithium-ion battery, the cycle life can be say from 1000, it goes up to 6000 cycles. So these are the comparison. What is the cycle life? 500 to 7000 titanium. Then the form factor is different. So we bundle the lithium-ion chemistry into different aspect and giving it different uses. High discharge current is there. A typical lithium-ion EV grade cell, what is the BOM of this? Different application, different type of, like we require the highest of the chemistry. These are the chemistry in NMC 8111, then 811 is the 622 is another chemistry, LFP is the chemistry, lithium ferrophosphide, this is the LMO is also there. So different type of chemistries are available. So this is again very important thing which is to do. I'll just skip because a little bit time is running out, I understand. Temperature effect on lithium-ion battery, very important thing because lithium-ion battery is very susceptible towards the temperature. So this is lithium-ion battery are to be used within say certain limit, that is extremes are minus 20 degrees centigrade, another extreme on the higher side is 60 degrees centigrade. Standards always talk about the monitoring of the temperature, how temperature is going to behave in the battery, charge, discharge, C cycles. This is the capacity performance on the life cycle which we were talking about. Battery management system, again a very interesting thing, but I'll not touch up much of the thing because it is again a subject which can be discussed inextensively because all the batteries in the lithium family requires battery management system for monitoring, for charging, discharging, monitoring, the calculating the secondary data, reporting, then that keeping the temperature within the limits, keeping the cell shut down, or in certain cases balancing. All these functions are into battery management system, which is basically electronics device, and it is invariably used in every lithium-ion chemistry. Battery standard. There are certain standard like IEEE, then we talk about Indian standard, then we talk about IC standard, DIN standard, BS standard, PI standard. If I talk about the total standards for the batteries, it may be a few hundred. And there are certain things which are being mixed and merged. Like if you see the IC standard 1184, we are also having certain standard for the same. The certain thing which is sizing is 1184. We talk about sizing again in the same 1189 or 485 in the lead acid battery. In Indian standard, we differentiated the sizing and the selection based on the application and based on the plates. This is a general overview. Sorry if I have to skip certain things because this is again a very descriptive thing. I just pick up 3 standards on and you will find all these red marked are on the abusive test or safety and abusive. So lithium-ion batteries are again tested on the cell level about the safety and the abuse, or the high temperature, mechanical shock, what is the endurance test, overcharged, force discharge. All these things, certain parameters are being managed by battery management system to keep the batteries in a safe road. Future of the electrochemical cell. This is again a very important thing to what is going on. Lot of research are coming up into this aspect of how the electrochemistry, because we are trying to move from the petrochemical to electrochemistry. We are trying, or lot of investment, lot of research, and lot of installations are coming up where we are trying to store, or we are storing solar energy, converting into the electrochemistry. And lot of lithium-ion battery packs, huge investment is being made on this aspect. Even Tesla is coming up with so many installations on the electrochemical energy storage system. So solar is there, where we can, intermittent solar energy can be stored into lithium-ion battery. Wind is also where the intermittent wind is also captured the extra thing into the batteries. What we want from the future? It has to be low cost. Obviously, for scaling up operation, we cannot afford for the high cost batteries. So, but it has to be innovative to match certain applications. Even I'll tell you, I wrote a point that is non-electrochemical rechargeable energy storage system. NASA is working on that. They constituted a team of few hundred engineers. They are working on some innovative non-electrochemical rechargeable energy storage system. So this is not a vague term. I'm talking about this. Otherwise, batteries or cell are always electrochemical, capable of energy density. The research is on nanotechnology and so many other aspects people are increasing to increase the energy density. We have already achieved so much of energy density, but we are talking about in the next 10 years, we are talking about scaling up the energy density by at least 2 times. Power output, high power output is again a very important aspect. Then the safety factor, no thermal runaway. Thermal runaway always leads towards the fire. So we talk about some safe chemistry. Say we can keep the batteries for some time, more time, environmentally neutral. Like lead acid batteries are carcinogenic, it is always harmful to the environment. So any chemistry which is environmentally neutral or we can utilize, this is again a very much desirable. So temperature range, again, because all electrochemistry present today works on say -20 degrees, it goes up to say maximum 60 degrees centigrade. But the application demands, if you talk about EV inside the EV batteries, you will find up to 45, 45, 55, 60 degrees centigrade temperature in a tropical region. So we wanted a battery which can run up to a temperature, higher temperature, goes up to say 100 degree, 105 degree. This is desirable. And people are working on that. There are certain groups in the different universities or into startups, they are working on that. Negative environmental impact, no negative environment, degrade. Batteries are gets degrade when we are very much drawing high current or high discharge rate. So battery, we are desiring a battery which is having a very stable chemistry where the degradation due to variance in the discharge rate, C rate or is not very, degrade is not very high. So what we expect? Earlier, the point was we first used to make batteries, say 15, 16 years ago, we talk about this is my battery, you try to fit it to other OEM, to the other user. My battery is of this size or this footprint and it is going to deliver. Now you change your application. This is what we as an engineer or we talk about at a battery technologist, we always talk. Like in JIS, there is standard for VLLA battery. Now you change your shape and size of your equipment. My battery will be of this size. So there are certain DIN standard talk about traction battery. So traction battery for certain application, the size will be this of the battery. You fit into the battery in your vehicle or in your equipment. You fit it of your own. No, the battery will be one battery for one application. This is what we are talking about now. In your application, we will make the battery in such a way that in your application, in your space, in your application, we will be fit my battery. So lot of chemistries are coming up, lot of different approach people are talking about into fitting into that. Because then so many things, we are talking about wearable technology. So this is again a point. Now, into the lithium ion family, a lot of things are coming up into the research part. So this is one thing which is into lithium ion battery, like into lithium metal, lithium air, lithium sulfur batteries. These are promising and we are expecting these things to be commercialized or come to the market in next 2 to 5 years time. All these chemistry will be on the energy storage system as well as EV where the lot of growths are coming up. And into solid state batteries, we are expecting that within 10 years time, we will have certain solid state batteries which will be commercialized and which will be having from one, it is just a future from lithium ion batteries. Solid state batteries are coming up. By next 10 years, we will be having a parallel to lithium ion batteries, solid state batteries. Into sodium ion family, this is again coming up in next 7-10 years time. We will be having plenty of sodium ion battery family because sodium is extensively available every time. It is a cheaper than much cheaper than what lithium ion batteries are, and it will be having more or less same type of energy storage capacity. Manganese ion batteries, these are also knocking the door and may be possible in next 3 to 7 years time we will be having this chemistry also available. Flow batteries, lot of people are working on that and lot of research are going on because this is again for storage, grid level storage which is coming up, and this will be invariably with the flow battery family. But it may be possible it will come out after say 10 years. Bigger battery applications, from small wearable electronics, we will be having big energy storage system, grid level maybe hundreds of megawatt hour, 200s of megawatt. I'll tell you, in my own company, we developed up to 35-40 kilowatt hour batteries. Commercially, we have commercialized those batteries, and that is a it is made in India. Similarly, on the portable applications, we will be having this type of portable application. Vehicular applications are there, but lot of mobility related to automotive, autonomous mobility. This is again a very good applications. So drone is again a very good application. Robotics, we have also made drone batteries with our existing lithium-ion polymer batteries in our own company. Then aerospace, aeroplane running on batteries. Certain aeroplanes are already being tested with lithium-ion batteries, and future is that we will be having aeroplane running with the batteries. Major battery failure model. Obviously, there are so many disadvantages. There are so many failures are there. We all know about the positive grade corrosion in lead acid battery. We talk about sedimentation, then top lead corrosion, hard sulfate. These are the things which are again similarly VRLA batteries are having so many failures models. Lithium has also got like overcharging, over discharging, internal and external short circuit, overheating. These are the things, thermal runaway, these are the failure models. But that is why BMS are always invariably used in the every lithium ion batteries. Similarly, memory effect is a very important thing with the failure model in a nickel cadmium batteries. Limitations. So there are certain limitations as on date or future people are working on. So these are the limitations where people are working on, the scientists and the electrochemical engineers are working on that to increase from the low. Today also we are having a low energy density or power density. This is again a constraint. Then we are talking about temperature thermal runaway. Thermal runaway happens with the lead acid battery, it happens with the lithium ion battery, it happens with certain aspect in the nickel cadmium battery. In the VRLA battery also we have thermal runaway at certain temperature and above a certain voltage level. So storage life. So these are all the things into the limitations. Different type of battery and battery testing and monitoring. How we are test the batteries: impedance test, load bank test. Load bank test is the test which is extensively used by every person having this storage. What will be the capacity after say 1 year, 2 years, and it is mandatory or it is being mandated by even IEEE also to carry out this load bank test. Then monitoring is again a purpose where we talk about monitoring. There are so many string which is attached with your UPS. It gives so many data about the string and voltage, flow voltage cycles, how many cycles it has worked, AC ripple current, AC ripple voltage, string level current, like that. Basic battery charging method as we are using today. Constant voltage, constant current, CC, CV, then comes CC and CV, which is normally lithium ion battery we are using. First we are using this as a constant current up to some voltage, then we keep it to the whether voltage is kept at some level and current is kept to free fall. Then taper charging current, pulse charging. Some people use pulse charging for reviving the batteries also. So lithium ion, nickel cadmium, CCCV, constant current charging are there. So these are the different types. Random charging is for mostly on the EV where we are using the cyclic application. Batteries are charged, used, then again come to the charging. That is the random charging. Float charging, where the batteries are kept into float, into the parallel. Batteries and load are permanently connected parallel across the charger. So this is a power plant application. Maintenance, what we maintain? We maintain certain things. When the batteries are failing or die, we replace the batteries. Or second thing is that we replace after say 2 years, 3 years, or a sustainable life of say 5 years, we change the batteries. So this is how we maintain them. This is how with the replacement. So there are certain standards, capacity test, how this IEEE 450, IEEE 1188, IEEE 1106. These are the 3 standards which are well-known standard for IEEE standard for the testing of the batteries, observation, actions, and measurements. The figures at a glance. So how the batteries are being like a very interesting fact I came across from IEA. 25 billion by on R&D spending on public energy R&D. Billions and billions of money is being spent on having God battery, or we say ki the best of the battery when it fits into so many applications, into especially into e-mobility as well as into renewable energy. Lot of research, lot of money is being spent, and lot of mega factories. As on time, 142 mega factories are coming up across the world. But China is the leader, and 107 mega factories are coming up only in China. Thank you. Over to Dr. Rajesh.
Sir, thank you very much. It was mind blowing, and to be very frank, I could see battery with a different angle or different perspective. And as it is well known that your perspective matters, I would like to give brief. I could know about the battery definition, Baghdad battery, flow battery, fuel cell, environmental effect of battery and vibration effect, oversizing, and effect of uh, chemical physics, chemistry, physics, and engineering of battery. I could understand about solid state sodium ion family, and I could understand about the magnesium ion also. It was quite new thing for me to understand. And because we are running out of time, I would like to take very few fundamental questions. And
Dr.
I have
Rajesh,
noted
I have one request. If you can share this PPT with everybody, that would be nice.
definitely, definitely, I will. Let me finish, sir. Please don't interrupt. Okay. And coming to the question, I would like to ask some participant if they have their question, they can unmute themselves and ask the question. Otherwise, I have noted 2 or 3 fundamental questions. I will start with that. I think should I start with the question, Kaushik sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have very small question to make. How to select a battery and a discharge current for a particular application?
Okay. If you allow me, I'll go with my slide where we talk about certain. Let me find out the applications because just a second, sir. So is it visible now?
It is
The
visible.
classification.
It
The
is there.
question is now, suppose the battery selection. The question,
Yeah.
if I am not wrong, you are talking about the selection of for a certain battery chemistry and the certain batteries. So
Yeah.
if I take one thing that like the battery for certain things, we sort out one thing that whether we require primary battery or secondary battery. So most of the engineering applications we require secondary battery. So one point is answered. We require secondary battery. Then we in the secondary battery we have certain available chemistry like lithium ion battery, lead acid battery, nickel cadmium battery, which are having almost 80-90% market share. So then we start talking about what are the advantage and disadvantage. Suppose we have a application where 80% DOD depth of discharge we invariably go.
Your voice is not coming. Kaushik sir, your voice is not coming. Kaushik sir, your voice is not coming. Okay. In the meantime, I would like to request respected KK Gupta sir, please come on the stage and say few words.
Dr. Rajesh, first, thank you very much. It was really a very, very nice presentation and educative, session. I will request you if you can share the PPT, and I also
Definitely.
I will also congratulate Mr. Das for informing so many things. Otherwise, people are not aware of all those things which has been told today. So I congratulate and thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And Kaushik Das is pursuing his PhD on battery itself, and we should acknowledge his hard work he has already put in. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Kaushik Das, are you able to hear me? I think there is some technical glitch. What I will do, I will share all the PPT and I will take all your questions. You can send all your questions to my email. On the same mail from where you got that link to join this seminar, and I will pass on that question to respected Kaushik sir, and he will answer all the queries you have. Thank you everyone for sparing your time. Namaskar, dhanyawad, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. Thank you, Dr. Kaushik. I'm sure the session has been enlightening for all of us.
Thank you.
So much for
Thank
your
you,
time.
Sheetal. Thank you very much. Shalini.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Should I hang up?